General Hospital spoilers tease that one of the new facts that is increasingly strangling Sonny's plans is the Port Charles mogul's deteriorating heart condition. The angina attacks have become more frequent and more severe, and medication is no longer controlling the condition as well as it once did. Over the past week, Sonny has secretly doubled his dose of nitroglycerin without telling his doctors, a dangerous sign that his condition is progressing faster than expected. Doctors have warned that without immediate surgery, Sonny could face a fatal heart attack at any moment, a fact that he is trying to hide from both his family and his rivals. Every business meeting, every confrontation with a rival, even every tense conversation with family members could be the last straw that breaks his heart completely. For new storylines are pushing Sonny's reckoning with the new change itself, which is proving to be one of his increasingly maddening adjustments as he faces multiple fronts at once. First, the penthouse explosion wasn't an accident as initially thought, but a message from a new criminal organization infiltrating Port Charles, an international conglomerate with vast resources and no moral restraint like Sonny's. They've begun approaching Sonny's business partners, offering more lucrative deals, and even using information about his health to suggest that the Corinthos empire will soon collapse. The explosion is the first warning. If Sonny doesn't make some concessions in some areas of business, the next warning will be directed at his loved ones. Second, Christina is facing possible criminal charges after the car accident with Ava. Although Alexis tried to cover it up by paying Ava, there is video evidence from a nearby security camera that Sonny recently discovered. If the tape gets into the hands of the police, Christina could face murder charges. And no amount of money will get her out of this situation. Sonny must decide whether to destroy the evidence, an action that could have serious legal consequences for himself, or let his daughter face the justice system and possibly a lengthy prison sentence. Third, Jason is secretly investigating Project Illumination without fully informing Sonny. The connection between the project and Elizabeth Weber's accident has distracted Jason from his duty to protect the Corinthos territory, creating security gaps that his enemies can exploit. Sonny has begun to doubt Jason's loyalty, wondering if the man who was once his right-hand man still has the Corinthos family's best interests at heart. This suspicion is straining their already strong relationship, making Sonny feel even more alone in the ongoing battle. And finally, there is a mole within Sonny's organization who is feeding information about his health and business plans to his opponents. Details about his surgery schedule, the security measures planned during Sonny's recovery, and even the contingency plan outlined by Carly and Jason have all been leaked. Sonny has no idea who among those closest to him, from security guards to cafe managers to possibly even family members, is betraying him. This suspicion is eating away at him from the inside, adding pressure to his already fragile heart. One of the new pressures that has been growing explosively. This is proving to be one of the new pressures that is making things increasingly explosive as Sonny is forced to make an untenable decision. Either temporarily step back from his leadership position to focus on his health, or continue to maintain a strong image at the risk of total collapse. The pressure is coming from all directions, from doctors warning of the worsening condition, from Carly pleading with him to prioritize his health above all else, from rivals lurking, waiting for a moment of weakness, and from Sonny's own reputation. A man who never backs down from danger, who always puts family and work before himself. What complicates the situation is new information from the cardiologist that the recovery process after surgery could last up to 3 months, of which at least the first 6 weeks will significantly limit Sonny's ability to move and participate in strenuous activities. This meant he would have to hand over complete control of operations to someone else for much longer than he had anticipated, long enough for his rival to completely overthrow the empire he had built. Carly and Jason had begun contingency planning without Sonny's consent, a move that felt betrayed but also necessary if he wanted his family and his empire to survive the coming storm. They had secretly approached Diane to prepare temporary power of attorney, had contacted longtime allies to secure support during Sonny's absence, and had even begun to shore up defenses at key businesses. When Sonny accidentally discovered these secret meetings, he was furious at what he saw as a lack of respect for his leadership. But deep down he knew they were doing the right thing, something his pride would not allow him to admit. At the same time, the 8-hour surgery creates the perfect power vacuum for his enemies to attack. forcing Sonny to weigh whether to bet everything on a single defense plan or risk his health to continue operating from the hospital, a dilemma with no perfect solution. To complicate matters, doctors have warned that continued stress in the post-operative period can dramatically increase the risk of complications, including the need for a second surgery or even death. In the dead of night, when the chest pain is most intense and the drugs seem to be no longer working, Sonny confronts his deepest fear, not the fear of dying, but the fear of leaving behind a crumbling empire, an unprotected family, and a forgotten legacy. Every decision carries grave consequences, every delay increases the risk of disaster, and time is running out for Port Charles's most powerful tycoon. As the clock ticks down and the hostile forces draw ever closer, Sonny Corinthos must face the reality that this time, his greatest enemy is not a rival crime syndicate or a zealous police officer, but the failing heart within his chest, an enemy that no amount of bodyguards or guns can protect him from. And in Sonny's world, where power and control are everything, this may be the most terrifying threat he has ever faced. Sonny is truly caught in one of the most complex chapters of his life, facing a series of unprecedented strategic decisions in his career in Port Charles. It's no longer just a matter of choosing between heart surgery and maintaining power. Sonny is calculating every move in a complex chessboard where every piece could be either a loved one or a disguised enemy. He has begun secretly dividing his assets and power, building layers of defense and contingency plans even Jason and Carly aren't fully aware of. Each night, in a locked room in the basement of his mansion, Sonny spends hours taking notes, drafting scenarios, and preparing letters, legal documents, and instructions to be opened only if he doesn't survive the surgery or becomes incapacitated. Things took a more complicated turn when he discovered several of his secret bank accounts had been compromised, with large sums withdrawn in recent weeks. The trail led to one of his most trusted individuals, though Sonny still can't pinpoint exactly who the betrayer is. He's begun feeding different members of his organization conflicting information in hopes of tracking down the mole through leaked intel. This strategy has led to rising tensions, as Jason and longtime allies begin noticing discrepancies and contradictory orders coming from Sonny, prompting concerns about whether his health is affecting his judgment. One of the newest developments signaling a drastic change is the shocking shift in Sonny's personality. The once calm and calculating boss is now experiencing uncontrollable emotional outbursts, from sudden fury at his closest confidants to unexpected moments of vulnerability and sentiment he never used to show. In a recent family gathering, Sonny suddenly hugged Michael, his son with whom he usually maintained a professional distance, and whispered an apology for everything, leaving the family confused and deeply worried. These alarming changes are not just symptoms of progressing heart disease, but also signs of a man beginning to accept that his time might be running out. His closest confidants have begun noticing troubling new habits. Sonny frequently stares at old family photos, especially those with Morgan, his deceased son. He started writing long handwritten letters to each of his children, including Dante in Germany. Most notably, he's secretly been meeting with some of his former enemies, seemingly to reconcile or settle old scores. A therapist warned Carly that this could be a sign of someone mentally preparing for the end, a kind of putting things in order many patients go through when facing high mortality risks. Sonny seems more inclined than ever to leave General Hospital as his obsessions intensify, particularly his fixation on protecting his legacy and reputation. In private conversations with his priest, Sonny has expressed a desire to die with dignity rather than live as a shadow of who he once was. The idea of being a weak man dependent on others, unable to protect his family or maintain his empire, has become more terrifying to him than death itself. He's begun discussing with Diane the process of transferring assets and business control to his children. He's even purchased a small villa on a remote island, where he could disappear if the surgery doesn't go as planned. Sonny doesn't want Port Charles to witness his decline. He wants to be remembered as a powerful boss and loving father and husband, not as a weakened patient in a hospital bed. In a rare moment of honesty, Sonny confessed to the priest that he has orchestrated a carefully staged exit plan, if the surgery fails, a fake accident to explain his disappearance. allowing him to vanish silently without tarnishing the respect and fear the Corinthos name has earned. This plan includes a double, a man with a similar appearance to be seen in Sonny's usual haunts in the months following his death, to prevent any suspicion. The level of detail in this plan reveals just how deeply rooted Sonny's obsession with legacy has become. These new attacks are proving too much for him to bear, not just physically, but mentally and reputationally. Every leaked piece of information about his health, every sign of weakness he can't hide. And every time he must rely on someone else to complete tasks he once handled with ease feels like a stab to his pride. The most recent attack on one of his warehouses, executed with insider knowledge of security systems only a high-level trader could possess, has shattered his confidence in his ability to judge whom to trust. As once impenetrable security measures fall, as those who swore loyalty turn away, and as his own body betrays him, Sonny Corinthos faces the harsh truth. His empire may crumble not because of a powerful external enemy, but from internal collapse, a scenario for which he has no weapon or strategy. To make matters worse, Christina is facing potential charges related to a car accident, adding another layer of pressure Sonny can barely withstand in his current state. Normally, he would leverage every resource and ounce of power to protect his daughter, but with his health declining and a possible traitor in the ranks, every move feels dangerous. He's had to entrust Jason and Alexis to handle the situation, a necessary decision that nevertheless leaves him feeling powerless and ineffective as a father. A role Sonny Corinthos has never been comfortable feeling inadequate in. As the day of the surgery draws closer, Sonny increasingly shows signs of a man preparing for a battle he's unsure he can win. He's arranged a large family dinner, inviting all his children and even some former adversaries, seemingly as a way to reflect, or perhaps say goodbye, to the life he's built. In private moments, when he believes no one is watching, Sonny has been seen holding an old revolver, the first weapon he ever owned, and gazing at it contemplatively. Perhaps considering one final option if things go too far south. A choice that would allow him to maintain control over his own end rather than leave it in the hands of doctors or enemies. Amid all of this, perhaps the most painful truth for Sonny is realizing that after all the years spent building power and influence, he still cannot control the one thing that matters most, how much time he has left with the people he loves. Every chest pain is a reminder that his empire, his reputation, and even his legacy may ultimately rest in the hands of others once he's gone, a reality that is almost unbearable for a man who has spent his life being in control. Sonny and Laura are about to share their final interactions, a series of emotional and meaningful meetings between two longtime friends who have weathered decades of ups and downs together in Port Charles. These old friends now find themselves entangled in a new and complex web of calculations as they face the most challenging issues of their respective lives. Laura, both as mayor and as a trusted friend, has been secretly visiting Sonny at his mansion in the dead of night, far from prying eyes and the city's ever-present cameras. In these quiet meetings, they don't just discuss Sonny's health, but also the mysterious Illumination Project, a growing threat that both are facing, albeit in different ways. Laura confided in Sonny about a trigger mechanism that has been implanted in her, and her fear that she could be unknowingly activated and end up harming those she loves. Meanwhile, Sonny revealed his own suspicions, that some of his recent heart attacks may not have been entirely natural, but rather remotely induced as part of the same project. This latest twist has led to a shocking discovery, revealing a deeper, more disturbing truth. The priority target list of the Illumination Project may have been designed with one ultimate goal, to gain total control over Port Charles by manipulating the city's most powerful figures. With Laura leading the government and Sonny ruling the underworld, controlling both of them would essentially amount to establishing a perfect regime of control. Realizing they are pawns in a far larger conspiracy, the two have launched a secret investigation. Leveraging their unique resources, Laura's access to official records and Sonny's underground intel network, to uncover who is truly behind the project. As pressure mounts and Sonny's departure looms, the situation becomes more desperate. Sonny's heart surgery can no longer be delayed, and the activation day of the Illumination Project is fast approaching. They now face a terrifying dilemma. If Sonny proceeds with the surgery, he will be utterly vulnerable during recovery. But if he delays, his heart might give out. Similarly, Laura must choose whether to go public with what she knows about the Illumination project, risking activation and becoming a tool for the very forces she's fighting, or remain silent and continue investigating in secret. In their final meeting before Sonny is hospitalized, the pair makes a bold and dangerous decision. They will stage Sonny's death. He will undergo the surgery as planned. But Laura will use her position to ensure the official report states he didn't make it, regardless of the actual outcome. If Sonny survives, this will allow him to operate from the shadows, unmonitored, as he fights back against the Illumination project. And if the worst happens, the plan will still protect his family from those who might exploit their vulnerability. Laura, on her part, will carry on as mayor but with a secret backup plan, a special medication developed by Elizabeth that can temporarily suppress the effects of the trigger mechanism in critical moments. As Sonny and Laura part ways, perhaps for the last time as two old friends who've endured so much together, they share a rare moment of raw honesty. Laura, once the symbol of morality and integrity in Port Charles, grasped the hand of Sonny, a man many view as the embodiment of the criminal underworld, and said with a wistful smile, "We've come a long way from those days at Kelly's Diner, haven't we, Sonny?" And Sonny, in a moment of rare sincerity, replied, "We never thought it would come down to us, did we? The mayor and the mob boss, fighting for the city together. This wasn't just a farewell between friends, it was a vow. A promise that no matter what the future holds, Port Charles will not be left to its fate." And as they embraced one last time, both knew that whether Sonny survives the surgery or not, nothing will ever be the same again. Sonny's final calculation is leading to the deaths of both Sonny and Laura, a daring but potentially necessary plan in the battle against Project Illumination. After many nights of secret discussions and careful consideration of all possible options, the couple arrived at the boldest decision in Port Charles history: to fake their own deaths in order to freely investigate and fight the underground forces controlling the city without surveillance. This plan involves not only falsifying medical records and Sonny's death during heart surgery but also staging an assassination of Laura at a public event, creating the impression that the two most powerful figures in Port Charles have been eliminated within a short span of time. The details of the plan have been meticulously recorded in a coded notebook, decipherable only by Jason, Elizabeth, and a few other trusted individuals, ensuring that even if discovered, those behind Project Illumination won't be able to understand its true contents. Every step has been carefully calculated, from who would confirm their deaths to how they would communicate secretly after disappearing. And even a contingency plan in case either of them ends up in real danger. But beyond the storyline, the real-life departures of Maurice Bernard and Jeannie Francis are proving to be a new kind of heartbreak for longtime fans of the show. Behind-the-scenes leaks reveal that both veteran actors have decided not to renew their contracts after decades of commitment to the series. Maurice Bernard, who has portrayed Sonny Corinthos since 1993, has confided to those close to him that he feels it's time to explore new roles after nearly 30 years with the character. In a recent interview with Soap Opera Digest, although he didn't directly confirm his departure, Bernard spoke about closing a chapter and being ready for new challenges. Similarly, Jeannie Francis, the iconic face of GH as Laura since 1977, has expressed her desire to rest and spend more time with her family after a long and successful career. Sources from the set shared that Francis had been in discussions for months about reducing her screen time but ultimately decided it was time to fully say goodbye to the character that defined her career. The decisions by both actors have created an unprecedented situation for the producers, forcing them to write off two pillar characters at the same time, rather than opting for separate deaths or a simple move to another location. The creative team decided to tie their exits into the ongoing Project Illumination arc, crafting an epic story of sacrifice and resistance that fans will never forget. Frank Valentini, GH's executive producer, is said to have worked around the clock with the writers to ensure that Sonny and Laura's departure would be not only shocking and emotional but also open new story possibilities, allowing other actors to evolve and step into the power vacuum left behind. Insider reports state that both Bernard and Frances filmed their final scenes last week in an emotionally charged atmosphere. The entire crew gathered to witness the last moments, with many longtime cast members unable to hold back tears when the director called "cut" one final time. Bernard reportedly gave a heartfelt speech thanking everyone who had been part of Sonny's journey, while Frances gifted each crew member a small token with a personal note. Nancy Lee Grahn described the day as the end of an era on her Twitter account, while Laura Wright posted a blurry photo of herself and Bernard with the simple caption, "No words. Just love." The fan reaction has been intense, with social media groups flooded with expressions of shock, sadness, and even anger. Many have launched #Save Sonny and Laura campaigns, hoping to convince the actors and producers to reconsider. Bernard's official fan club hosted a virtual gathering with over 5,000 attendees to share memories and express gratitude for his years in the role. One group of fans even rented a plane to fly a banner reading, "GH needs Sonny and Laura," over ABC Studios in Los Angeles as a last-minute plea. Interviews with supporting cast revealed that the atmosphere on set during those final scenes was deeply emotional, with many unable to hold back tears. Kelly Monaco, Sam, described it as losing a part of the family, while Steve Burton, Jason, admitted he can't imagine GH without Sonny. The episodes depicting Sonny and Laura's deaths are expected to air next month, coinciding with the show's 60th anniversary. According to previews, these episodes will span an entire week, each day focusing on a different aspect of the legacy these two characters leave behind. Several former cast members are expected to return for the tribute, with rumors suggesting even Anthony Geary may make a brief appearance to bid farewell to Laura. Critics who previewed some of the scenes described them as painfully moving and worthy of these iconic characters, while producers have promised the door will always be open for a possible return in the future. Many fear that the exit of these two legendary figures could mark the true end of an era for General Hospital, and that the show may never quite be the same. Industry insiders predict this departure will trigger a major shift in the show's dynamics, with Jason and Carly possibly stepping into Sonny's underworld role, while Nicholas could take up the Cassadine legacy following his mother's death. There is even speculation that ABC may be preparing for the eventual end of the series, with the loss of its two biggest stars signaling deeper changes on the horizon. Whether the Project Illumination storyline and the faked deaths provide a narrative escape route for future returns remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Port Charles will never be the same again. As fans brace themselves for the emotional episodes ahead, many have started looking back at the long journey of Sonny and Laura, from Laura's early days with Luke, through Sonny's rise to power, to recent years where both became the heart and soul of Port Charles in very different ways. Whatever the future holds, the legacies of Sonny Corinthos and Laura Spencer will forever be etched into the history of one of America's longest-running and most beloved television series.